Hello Facebook, good afternoon. Just making myself my 2 p.m. coffee and I'm ready to go and have some quiet time before the school run. But I just felt like being really spontaneous today and coming on and talking about something that I'm hearing a lot of clients and people in my audience talking about, and is turning out to be a little bit of an issue for a lot of us parents. And the topic I kind of want to explore today is why your kids are making you feel like rubbish. Why, when they are behaving in ways that we don't like, it makes us want to tear our hair out. Or why it makes us feel like crying our eyes out. You know, I want to kind of really discuss this today because it is massive, and it's massive because it will, when you really get to the core of it, you will understand why you feel the way you do, and it will be a massive part of your parenting and how to be a better parent, not just for your child but for yourself as well. So if anyone is having any of these issues or kind of experience anything along those lines, please continue watching. And if you are watching at the moment, please say hi, let me know that you're there. And if you're watching on the replay, just comment replay in the comments. And again, if you have any questions around anything that I have to say, I will do my best to answer you and provide you with some support and wisdom around parenting and anything that's kind of talked about today. So I've had quite a few parents this week come to me and tell me about their child's behavior, why is their child being so difficult, why they're doing this to them, can't they understand how stressful it is, you know, why is he trying to hurt me, you know, why is she being so horrible, you know, all of these things I've had this week in particular, interestingly. And what I try to get with my clients all the time is the understanding that actually, number one, I've been there as a mum. With my first daughter, I can tell you now, hand on heart, I blamed her for everything. When she was upset, her fault. When she was having a tantrum of some sort, her fault again. She was just trying to make my life difficult, you know, she wasn't allowing me to be the best mum that I could be, and I came up with so many different projections, excuses, you know, and it was all aimed at my daughter. And I'm here to tell you that actually it's the wrong way round. You know, I've had to tell a few parents this week as well that they have to flip that mirror. Like, if your child is behaving in a way that is displeasing for you, there's several things going on here, and it's not until you can actually take a step back and address your own behavior and your own thought process and your own emotions around that. You know, if you can't do that, then you have a bigger problem there, because you're not going to be able to help your child in the best way that you can, and you're not going to be able to resolve that situation. So, for example, if a child is having a tantrum and they're embarrassing you, like, how many of us have actually gone out shopping and our kids been thrown themselves on the floor, and we're just kind of mortified at the fact that our child is embarrassing us, and it makes us look like a bad parent, and all of these emotions come up, you know, and we blame the child. You know, we want to reprimand the child, we want to say, right, I'm going to punish you now for doing this, and the biggest reason why I'm going to punish you is because you embarrassed me. We may not say that to them, but that's the core of it. We were embarrassed, you know. A lot of the time as parents, we don't actually take that step back and kind of say to ourselves, right, okay, well, what was my child showing me in that moment? Why were they behaving that way? What potentially led up to it? Now, I know in that moment when the child's kicking and screaming on the ground, your brain isn't in the place of saying, you know, let's go through this process now. Let's really see what's happening. Let's, you know, how did we get from here to here, and what happened before we left the house, and all of these things. You're in mortified zone. You're upset yourself and you're embarrassed. So your brain isn't naturally going to go there, but you can train your brain to go there, so that when you have these moments, you can just say, right, okay, I see they're upset. What can I do to soothe this? A lot of the time we want to pick them up, we want to drag them along with us, we want to shout at them, we want to reprimand them, and I don't know if you noticed, but it tends to make tantrums worse. And it actually doesn't get to the core of it and get to the core of the problem. So what I wanted to do this quick live on really is it's kind of just to get across to you that when you're, oh, we've got Doreen watching. Hi, Doreen. Thanks for watching. When you're feeling those moments where your child is behaving in a way that doesn't feel good to you, we have to recognize in that moment that we are being triggered. Okay? We're being triggered. In other words, our children is showing us something that is already going on within us, and they're pulling that out of us through their behavior. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to recognize. If you're not willing to recognize the fact that you're being triggered, then that's another issue on its own. But you have to understand that, you know, when you're reacting, you're being triggered. That's just it. So we have to learn to get into a place of not looking at our children as the enemies almost, or as these horrible little creatures that want to make our lives difficult and embarrass us and make us look terrible to everyone else. We have to look at our children like our biggest healers, because your child will trigger the hell out of you. And that's always a good thing, because whatever is being triggered can be healed and can be released, and it won't affect your parenting. Okay? There are those moments where you want to tear your hair out. There are those moments where you want to shout back, I hate you. I don't know any parent that hasn't looked at their child at least once and thought, I really don't like you right now, okay? But it's about understanding at the same time that actually it's not that you don't like your child in that moment. You don't like how your child is making you feel. You don't like that triggering feeling. You don't like what's coming up. Does that make sense to anyone watching? Okay? And what we have to remember is that what's coming up is our stuff. It's nothing to do with our children. Okay, it's nothing to do with them. Now, obviously, every situation is unique, and every child is unique, and every family is unique, and we all have our own stuff going on. But if you're in that position of taking a step back and you're actually able to see, wow, yeah, he did this or she did that, and I actually feel like a child again, or I feel vulnerable, or I feel embarrassed, or I feel ashamed. Your best bet is to go away and say to yourself, where are these feelings coming from? What do I need to do with these feelings? You know, I've just written some notes down as well. Yeah, so it's about accepting. It's about acknowledging the emotions that come up. It's about saying, you know, what do I need to do that will help right now? Do I need to scream at my child? Do I need to tell them how much I dislike what they're doing? Do I need to drag them out of Sainsbury's, you know, kicking and screaming? What do I need to do now that will help both my child and myself? And then once I've done that and I've soothed that situation, what do I need to do to further my own healing and my own self-development? We have to go inwards. We have to look at our own behavior. We have to see our children as our mirrors. They are feelers. They feel us. They're always picking up on our energy, always. And they are our greatest healers, if we allow them to be. If we take responsibility and ownership for our own stuff. Yeah? So it's always about going back to you. It's always about that. Your child loves you. Your child loves you so, so much. If only you knew how much. But all your child wants is your love back. And the best way to get that is by giving that love to yourself first, and that nurturing to you. Okay? One of the best ways that you can parent your child is by reparenting yourself first or simultaneously. You know, we can't control, as children, we can't control how our parents parented us or what happened to us. We had no control over that. But as an adult, you have complete control over your healing and dealing with your stuff so that you don't pass it on to your children, because I see it all the time. Habits and dysfunctional behavior and unhealthy stuff being passed down from generation to generation because nobody takes the time to get the support that they need and to do the work. We get one childhood, right? So if we can give our children the best childhood that they can have, why not? Why not? If we can be triggered and release ourselves from our own pain from our own childhood or whenever, why not? It's less baggage. It's less emotional junk in you, and you're not going to pass it on to your child if you deal with your stuff. And another thing is, well, you know, when you're dealing with your own stuff, you're teaching your child how to deal with their emotions. Does that make sense to anyone watching? I see quite a few of you on here. Thank you so much for joining me. And also, if anyone has any questions, just feel free to comment. Lisa, 100% agree with this. My biggest realization was when my daughter is driving me crackers. She's 11. If I can change, she changes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Your child is your mirror. You know, there was a time when I had my youngest, and because I had postnatal depression with my first, my eldest who's 12, when I had my youngest, I thought, yes, this is my chance now to be a real mum. I wasn't depressed. I was in a much better place. And, you know, she was clingy at, well, what I perceived to be as really clingy, and didn't want me spending time with my newborn, and, you know, wanted to take me away from her. And there was this part, she triggered me. She really triggered me, because I remember thinking to myself, why is she stopping me from trying to be a good mum? And I disliked her for a moment. I'm not going to lie. You know, I disliked that she was trying to prevent me from being something that I felt I was entitled to be. But actually, what she was doing was saying, Mommy, you know, I didn't have that with you. I would like some too. I want some of that love. I want some of that attention. But I didn't see it at that point, because obviously I still had some stuff and some guilt and some issues around having postnatal depression for 3 years and not forming that kind of bond with my daughter. I love her to pieces. I knew I did. But I know I didn't have that connection with her, and she knew that too. She knew that too. So every time I went to spend time with my little one, she was literally physically placing herself in front. Until I reached the point of saying, do you know what? I can't get fed up with her anymore. I can't blame her for what's happened. She is just a child. And all she's asking for is what she feels that she's entitled to, and that what she feels she deserves. So I had to go away and do some work. I had to go away and do some work. And I had to learn how to spread my love between two people that needed me, but also how to show myself love and how to build that relationship for myself as well. Because my eldest, I don't know about you guys, but she triggers the hell out of me, even up to today. And I thank her for that every time. I can't even get annoyed or upset with her anymore, because I just, every time she does, and I get a little bit of emotion coming out, I think, thank you. I actually give gratitude for it, because I know it's something that I need to clear and heal, so I can not only be a better parent, but a better version of me too. Okay? So this is all I wanted to kind of come on and say today, because like I said, I've had an influx of people that are struggling with the same thing. And it doesn't matter how old your child is. And in fact, even if you're not a parent, you know, it could be anyone. Anyone in your relationship circle, friendships, whatever. If you're being triggered, own it. Deal with your stuff. Take it on as your stuff. Okay? It's easy to project blame. It's easy to absolve yourself of responsibility. But I promise you, you will be a better version of you if you just own it. And be grateful for the fact that you've been triggered. And be grateful that all of this stuff is coming up, because you obviously don't need it. So, if anyone doesn't have any other questions, I'm just going to say hi to everyone. Ooh, it's not working. Trying to wave at you all. Okay. I think that's worked. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free again to comment or just post in the comments afterwards. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of say that because, you know, our kids are not our enemies. They really aren't. You know, people talk about the terrible twos and tantrums and things, and you know what, I'm going to do a post on that as well, because they're just expressing themselves and they're just mirroring us and they're just reflecting back to us, and they're actually, you know, tantrums, they're not what we think they are. But that's for another live or another post. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. Oh, Lisa, thank you, lovely. Have a great day. You too, Lisa, and thank you so much for joining me. I have to say, like, lives are not my forte, but I'm trying to do more and more lives, and, you know, practice makes perfect. It certainly heads you in that direction. Stella, that sounds just like me when I had my boys. I'm glad you can relate, Stella. I mean, this is why, to be honest, this is why I wrote my first book, because I knew I loved my daughter, and I knew I did, but I knew I wasn't connecting with her, and writing was my way of connecting. So I initially wrote my book. The first one was about me, and then I was just building my relationship with her at the same time as well. But I wanted something for her to know that I never stopped loving her. I was filled with my own stuff, you know. But that was 12 years ago, and we had a really fractured relationship. Like I say, I was severely depressed for 3 years, and I had so much going on in my life and very, very little support. And we have turned around a very fractious, what felt like broken relationship, into a much more free-flowing, loving and accepting one as well. So yeah, I'm in a much better place with it, and things can get better. But again, the point of this live is they can get better when you take ownership of your stuff. All right. Hi, Victoria. Thanks for watching. Okay, everyone. So if nobody has any other questions, I'm going to go and enjoy my coffee, prep dinner, have some quiet time before the school run. And yeah, if anyone has any questions or any other kind of content that you would like me to kind of share or value to help you with anything you're going through, do contact me and let me know. For those of you that were looking for a community of parents and support and value and tips and tools, then please feel free to come over to my parenting community. That's Transforming Parenthood, Getting Back to You, and you can see it in the links on my bio as well. But yeah, that's just a nice little group where you guys can just hang out, and I will offer a value as often as I can, and you're the first to know about any kind of services and freebies or stuff that I've got going on. Okay, so feel free to come over. I would love to support you in the group, and until the next time, Facebook friends, bye bye.